Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon everybody. How are you today? Come back again with me. My name is Nurul Octaviani. Here I will share material about CLT for you all my friends. Come on. CLT. The goal of most method language is to make the student able to communicate it in the target language. During practice or student do it, they fail. And finally, it was explained that to make student able to communicate it in the target language, more than just mastering linguistic structures is needed. So, communicative competence is needed with linguistic competence. CLT is an approach to teaching a foreign language or a second language that emphasizes communicative competence. This communicative language teaching replaces situation language teaching, which has been used to teach English, which is said to be a second language or a foreign language. The focus of the CLT approach is then to teach the basic structure language. However, in the 1960s, in fact, situational learning was considered useless because to teach meaning was done from an experience, because the expressions tantamount to expressing the intent of the speaker or writer. By the mid 1970s, the scope of communicative language teaching had expanded, aiming to make communicative competence the goal of language teaching and developing procedure for teaching for language skill that recognize the interdependence of language and communication. Richard and Rogers in 1966. The second CLT characteristic. CLT have three characteristics. The first is aims for student to achieve communicative competence so that student can use language appropriately. The second, the main focus when using the CLT approach is one student. The teacher is only a facilitator because the teacher is the person who manages the school environment. And the last, communicative activities. Communicative activities allow students to achieve communicative goals curriculum, involving students in communicating and communicative use such as a process of sharing information, negotiating meaning, and interaction. Richard and Rogers in 1986. The third is CLT principles. CLT have four principles. The first is in the CLT approach, the main focus of the approach is to make students able to understand the intonations and experience of the writer and speaker. The second, when using the CLT approach in a language teaching, the target language is used in the classroom. The target language is a vessel for classroom communication, not just an object of learning. Larson Freeman in 2000. Because if students continue to use their mother tongue, they are actually unable to communicate it in the target language. Is it believed that the native language should be used wisely? And the third, language cannot be learned through rote. It can be studied in isolation, must be learned through social interaction. The CLT approach provides learners with the opportunity to communicate it in the target language. It encourages teacher, student, and student interaction. This helps to foster operative relationships among students. Teachers must provide work in groups or in pairs, give the opportunity to share information between them. It also helps to promote communication between them. And the last, the CLT approach provides students with opportunities not only about what to say but also about how to say it. The teacher must create situations that help improve communication. Teachers must teach them how language should be used in social contexts. And the fourth, role of the teacher in classroom. The teacher are just the facilitator who facilitates the learning process with the aim of creating a conducive class. As for the opinion of several experts, namely Richard and Rogers, state that there are some other rules some for teacher are need analyze, counselor, and groups process manager in 1986. Not only that, there are opinions from experts, namely Package describing the role of teacher as communicator, a friend who can provide advice, a motivator as an inspiration and encouragement, a good in developing attitudes and behavior and values, an individual who master the material being taught. James Wilborn argues that the duties and rules of teacher include mastering and developing subject matter, planning and preparing daily lesson, controlling and evaluating student activities. And the fourth, role of the learners in the classroom. The major focus in CLT approach is one communication process rather than mastering linguistic structures. Here, students play a very important role. The comparative approach rather than individualistic approach to learning stress in CLT might likewise be unfamiliar to learners. CLT methodologies consequently recommend that learners learn to see the failed communication is a joint responsibility and not the fault of speaker or listener. Similarly, successful communication is accomplishment joint achieved and knowledge. Richard and Rogers in 1986. And the last is conclusion. Communicative language teaching is an approach which provides opportunity to the learners to communicate it in the target language. The use of functional aspect of language make them able to communicate it in the target language in their day-to-day life. The activities which are used in CLT approach such as dramas, role plays, and games make learning enjoyable. Okay, that's all from me, and thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Keep spirit and stay healthy.